Poseidon didn't just control the seas. He was called the Earth Shaker because when he got angry, he would literally slam his trident into the ground and cause massive earthquakes that destroyed entire cities. And he did this a lot. Everyone thinks Poseidon is the cool, laid-back god of the ocean. The uncle who lets you ride dolphins and have fun at the beach. That's not who Poseidon was. In the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you the real story of Poseidon, from his brutal childhood to his rise as one of the most powerful gods, to his most violent and petty acts of revenge. And I guarantee, by the end of this video, you'll see Poseidon as more dangerous than Hades ever was. Alright, let's start with his childhood, because it's just as horrifying as Hades. Poseidon was the second child born to the Titans Kronos and Rhea. His older brother Hades had just been born and immediately swallowed whole by their father. So when Poseidon came into the world, he knew exactly what was coming. Imagine that. You're born, you see your father's face, and the first thing that happens is he opens his mouth and swallows you alive into complete darkness. Poseidon spent years trapped in his father's stomach with Hades and eventually his sisters Hestia, Demeter, and Hera. His entire childhood was darkness, isolation, and the knowledge that his own father saw him as a threat to be imprisoned. Now here's what most people don't talk about. This trauma shaped Poseidon. Think about it. You spend your formative years trapped, powerless, betrayed by the one person who should protect you. What does that do to you? It makes you crave power. It makes you never want to feel helpless again. And it makes you violent when people challenge your authority. That's exactly who Poseidon became. When Zeus finally freed them by making Kronos vomit them up, Poseidon emerged as a full-grown god. But unlike Hades, who accepted his fate quietly, Poseidon was angry. He'd been imprisoned once. That was never happening again. And anyone who tried to control him, challenge him, or disrespect him, they would learn what happens when you anger the Earth Shaker. Freedom didn't last. Kronos rallied the Titans for war, and Poseidon got his first taste of violence in the Titanomachy, the 10-year war that would decide the fate of the universe. But here's the thing about Poseidon in battle. He wasn't strategic like Athena. He wasn't sneaky like Hades. Poseidon was raw power and rage. The Cyclops forged him a weapon, the Trident, a three-pronged spear of divine power that could do three things. 1. Control all water, oceans, rivers, even the water in your body. 2. Cause earthquakes by slamming it into the ground. 3. Summon storms and tsunamis at will. Poseidon didn't just fight Titans. He drowned them. He buried them under earthquakes. He summoned tidal waves that swept entire armies away. Zeus had lightning. But Poseidon? Poseidon had the earth and seas as his weapons. There are stories from the war where Poseidon would flood Titan encampments while they slept. Not honorable combat, just brutal efficiency. He would cause earthquakes under their feet, swallow them into cracks in the earth, and leave them buried alive. Hades fought in the shadows. Zeus led from above. But Poseidon? Poseidon was eyeing the battle, covered in blood and seawater, destroying everything in his path. When the war ended and the Olympians won, Poseidon had proven one thing. He was the most physically dangerous god on the field. After the war, the three brothers divided the cosmos. They drew lots. Zeus got the sky and became king of the gods. Poseidon got the seas. Hades got the underworld. Now, Poseidon's realm was huge. The oceans cover most of the world. He had immense power. But here's what ate at him. He wasn't first. Zeus was. Poseidon was the second son. Second born. Second in power. Second in authority. Zeus sat on the throne of Olympus, making decisions. And Poseidon? He had to obey. For a god who spent his childhood powerless and imprisoned, being told what to do by his younger brother was unbearable. This is why Poseidon is so violent and petty. He's constantly trying to prove he's just as powerful as Zeus. Maybe more powerful. In fact, Poseidon actually tried to overthrow Zeus once. He conspired with Hera and Athena to chain Zeus up and take control of Olympus. It failed. Zeus broke free and punished them. But the fact that Poseidon even tried shows you how much he resented being second. Remember in the beginning when I mentioned Poseidon destroyed cities over payment disputes? Here's the full story. King Laomedon of Troy hired Poseidon and Apollo to build the walls of Troy. They worked for a year. Then when it was time to pay, Laomedon refused. Poseidon's response? He sent a massive sea monster to terrorize the coast of Troy. It killed their people, destroyed their ships, and ruined their fishing industry. But that wasn't enough. Years later, during the Trojan War, Poseidon sided against Troy and helped ensure their complete destruction. He held a grudge for generations and made sure that entire civilization fell. All because one king didn't pay him. You know the story of Odysseus trying to get home after the Trojan War? That should have taken a few weeks. It took 10 years. Why? Because Odysseus blinded Poseidon's son, the Cyclops Polyphemus. Was it self-defense? Yes. Did Poseidon care? Absolutely not. Poseidon spent a decade tormenting Odysseus. Shipwrecks, storms, killing his entire crew, trapping him on islands, all to punish one man for defending himself against a monster. That's not justice. That's cruelty. And here's the darkest part that nobody talks about. Poseidon has dozens of stories where he pursued women. Medusa? He assaulted her in Athena's temple. Demeter tried to escape him by turning into a horse. So he turned into a stallion and caught her anyway. These aren't love stories. These are abuse stories. Poseidon took what he wanted when he wanted it and didn't care about consent or consequences. Zeus gets criticized for this behavior all the time, and he should. But Poseidon was just as bad, sometimes worse, and people don't talk about it because he's not the king. The god of the seas wasn't just violent to his enemies. He was violent to everyone when he wanted something. So why is Poseidon like this? Why so violent? Why so petty? Let's break it down. 1. Childhood trauma. Imprisoned, powerless, betrayed by his father. He learned early that the world is cruel and power is everything. 2. Eternal second place. Always in Zeus's shadow. Every act of violence is him trying to prove he's just as powerful, just as important. 3. Physical power mindset. Unlike Athena, who values strategy, or Apollo, who values arts, Poseidon's thing is raw power. And when your only tool is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. 4. No consequences. He's a god. He can drown cities, cause earthquakes, assault whoever he wants, and nobody can stop him. Zeus won't punish him because he's family. The other gods fear him. Here's the truth about Poseidon. He's not evil like we think of Hades. He's not necessarily trying to be cruel, but he's broken. He's traumatized, and he's been given infinite power with zero accountability. That's a recipe for violence. Remember at the beginning when I asked if Poseidon is a protector or a destroyer? Now you know the answer. Poseidon could protect. He had the power to save lives, calm seas, prevent earthquakes. But more often than not, he chose violence. So here's my question for you. Knowing all of this, do you think Poseidon is more dangerous than Hades? Drop your answer in the comments. If this changed how you see Poseidon, hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel grow. And if you want more brutal truths about Greek mythology that nobody else is talking about, subscribe because I got plenty more coming.